I didn't think about the positive impact that making shields had on my life and my mental state until I was asked to present here, because I'm always chasing that. If anybody makes anything, there's something about, I call it the eureka moment, where you get aha feeling. That is a natural high that I am always chasing, and I have been since I was a kid, but I didn't know how to verbalize it until I started thinking about it in this way.
What's up, world? My name is Newman Assembles, the master of ceremonies. Welcome to Cosplay Healing Theory. On May 31st, we explored how cosplay, storytelling, and identity can become tools for healing. This space is about embodiment, community, and reclaiming our power, one character at a time.
Going to join us for a deep dive into the world of replica making with Jason, whose journey began with a birthday gift, a Captain America shield replica that sparked a full-blown creative adventure. Driven by a love of fan interaction and a passion for authenticity, Jason meticulously modifies his suit and props to mirror the details of Marvel's cinematic universe. When he's not fine-tuning his costume or props, Jason maintains his mental health by spending quality time with his family, who supports his never-ending tinkering and have learned to laugh or groan at his dad jokes. And you can check out his YouTube videos at Newman Assembles. So please put your hands together and welcome Jason Newman to
The intro, the way that they have interpreted the characters, for the most part, for the screen, I am a real fan of, especially Captain America. As we said, I'm a tinkerer. We could probably do a YouTube channel on me breaking high-value collectibles that I get, because I think that I can make them better, and I take them apart and almost, but not quite, can put them back together again. And in my life, I've always known that I wanted to be a creative person and do things creatively, but I never thought of myself as a creative person because of the way that, for some reason, I think about creativity. I think of it as like, you walk through, if you are a creative person, you walk through the world like Kamala Khan, and everything that you're looking at, there's these beautiful animations happening. And when you sit down to make something, it just naturally flows out of you. And that's not how it feels for me. For me, when I'm creating something, I feel more like I'm pushing a boulder up a hill. But I do think of myself as more of a problem solver. So if we can go to the next slide. This one is it's very non-scientific, but since we're talking about mental health, someone on the internet who knows how neurochemistry works was trying to determine which chemicals would be responsible for creative thought. And what they came up with was 3 neurochemicals, probably, if you could mix them together, would be what gives you creativity. That would be dopamine, which is a pleasure neurochemical, serotonin, which is mood stabilizing, and acetylcholine, which is learning. Out of curiosity, I wanted to know what neurochemicals would help with problem solving, and as it turns out, if you go to the next slide, it's exactly the same thing. So when you think about it, what is making something if not solving a problem? This shift in thinking about creativity has helped with my mental state, because I used to think that I was wasting my time because there's other things I need to get to. When I'm drawing, I'm not editing photos. If I'm editing photos, I'm not making something in 3D. If I'm making something in 3D, I'm not repairing something in the house that has to get fixed. It's just too much, but what I landed on was I use the same skills just by doing anything at all. It has helped me feel like I'm not wasting my time. So I now get the same enjoyment out of repairing the plumbing in my house as I do making a Captain America shield. Because I'm always chasing that. If anybody makes anything, there's something about, I call it the eureka moment, where you get aha feeling. That is a natural high that I am always chasing, and I have been since I was a kid, but I didn't know how to verbalize it until I started thinking about it in this way. And I didn't think about the positive impact that making shields had on my life and my mental state until I was asked to present here, and I started trying to frame this presentation. Are we going to the next slide? All right, so a timeline of how we got here. In June 2016, I went to AwesomeCon, me and my family, and there was a organization that was doing something where if you gave a donation, they will let you hold a screen-used Captain America shield. And I didn't know how much I wanted to hold a screen-used Captain America shield until I had the opportunity. So I paid my 2 bits, and there I am holding. Spoiler alert, that's not a screen-used Captain America shield. What I know now, I don't know if they know it, but that's not one of the screen-used shields. But that didn't matter. That was enough for me to get that feeling that I'm actually holding the thing that Steve Rogers or Chris Evans was holding. And I'm kind of chasing that feeling ever since. that in August 2021, that's when I got the birthday gift replica of the Captain America shield. And again, I was ecstatic. And I put it on the wall. It came with Steve's compass, so I had to get a shelf to put the compass on. The shelf looked bare. I got a Captain America statue. I felt it still looked bare, so I got a helmet. Now I'm starting to get a little collection going. And I also joined Facebook groups for Captain America fans who like to do the same kind of things that I do. So now I'm into a community of like-minded people. And instead of doom scrolling on the internet or getting in arguments with people, I'm actually talking to people who will make something and put something positive out there. So, and I started to learn more and more details about the shield. And in June 2022, this is one that was gifted me. I keep at home because I don't want to damage it, because I can't fix that one if anything happens to it. But I upgraded the straps on the back, and I found the screen buckles that they use. And people in the community didn't know the proper buckles. So I feel like I'm contributing to the community by saying, guys, I found this. There were little doodads that I found that other people couldn't find. So I had a feeling of I'm actually contributing. October 2022, I had been active in the community to the point where I wanted to try cosplay. I'm naturally not someone who likes to get attention, but I was by everybody, and it seemed like they were all having so much fun. So I went to the cosplay con in Richmond, which was, it's a very fun convention, but it's a good to get your feet wet if you never did cosplay before. I did that, and that's me in costume, and it was fun. I could tell that I was feeling a little awkward inside the costume. I'm not used to, at this point, used to people coming up and asking me to take photos. If you see the photos, my poses are very stilted, but it was fun. And I had learned so much about the shields that in late October, I decided I wanted to try to make my own that had all of the features that were missing in the other shields that people were making. I just wanted to see if I could do it. And by May 2023, I finished it. That's version 1 of a completed Captain America shield, and it's riddled with errors, but I finished it. Then in 2023, we went to Awesome Con. That changed everything. I was walking around as Captain America with my shield, and that fan lit up like Christmas when he saw me. And of course, we take the picture, it's fun, but it unlocked a memory that I had when I was a kid. We used to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Back in the late 80s, for a couple of years, they would have a Marvel float. And I remember we used to tape the parade, and for days afterwards, I would cue up the tape and watch just the part with the Marvel float on it. Because my heroes were real, finally. They were off the page and they were in person. They weren't in the room with me, but I would have given anything to be on that float with them and meet them. And now I'm doing that for this kid, this fan. It affected me in a positive way more than I was expecting it to, so much so that afterwards, Ryan, who founded Superhero Support, is in the Captain America groups that I'm in. So I reached out to him, and I ended up in September 23 joining Superhero Support, and I've been making appearances as Captain America since, but the skill set has only grown. I'm thinking about adding a lineup. It will take different.
When we talk about mental health, it often feels distant, like it belongs in a clinic or on social media hashtags. But the truth is, mental health lives with us every day. It's in our homes, in our families, in our faith, and in our silence. This film asks one question: what's your mental health? You'll hear from a warrior who refuses to give up.
I've been able to reach out, so I know when the time comes, we'll be reunited.
An advocate who turned her pain into purpose.
And so it was reliving the trauma all over again. Middle son, when he was crossing the street, coming home from high school one day, he got hit by a car. So he got medevaced to the same hospital that my mother died in. That was the trigger to understanding mental health.
And a healer who reminds us that strength is found in seeking help, not hiding it.
Always compare it to the idea of looking at yourself in the mirror with no clothes on. And just sitting there and being able to do that. That's what therapy should be.
These stories are raw, real, and necessary. Because healing is not just for some of us, it's for all of us. Welcome to What's Your Mental Health? A documentary about resilience, truth, and the power of telling your story.
Be able to bring those characters to life. But it all started back in 2016 just because I got to pick up one of the Captain America, what I thought was one of the Captain America shields. So next slide. So in the previous thing, I mentioned some replica makers that were not as screen accurate as I wanted them to be. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea and think that I'm saying that those are bad replicas. Making a replica is hard work. Making a replica, the only way I can think of to describe it is the Marvel prop department, or the prop department on any movie, takes their bow and arrow and they shoot it at a wall, and it lands generally in the center, which is an achievement. The community goes up to that wall and paints a bullseye around the target. And they go, they did it. You want to make a replica, you are trying to split their arrow with your arrow. That's what it feels like trying to make a replica. It's really hard. Next slide. I learned some valuable lessons from trying to make these replicas. Number one is mistakes are 100% unavoidable. You can't get away from making a mistake. And I don't enjoy when people say things like, failure is okay, don't be afraid of failure, and mistakes are fine. Mistakes, they feel awful. I don't like making mistakes. I embrace them because it's just something you have to do, but if I could, I wouldn't make more mistakes. But mistakes are an opportunity to help you grow. They bring us together. Anything that goes wrong is a funny story later, as long as nobody got hurt. If you talk to people, I mean, it happens. You can talk about anything that went wrong with your car, anything that, a repair in your house that went wrong. How did you build your, well, this thing fell off when I was in a cosplay. I had to emergency repair it. You have things to talk about, all because mistakes happen. Sometimes you even discover a way to fix things when you make a mistake. If everything was perfect, everything would be very boring. People want to help. I'm telling my daughter, now 10, and she's getting interested in social media, and I'm telling her, social media is not the playground that it is promised to be, but you can make it work for you. On YouTube, Facebook groups, online forums, there is a community out there, a world out there, people tripping over each other to help other people that they will never meet. You can learn almost anything on YouTube. I learned how to replace the drum of my dryer because somebody had a broken dryer and they decided, I'm gonna set up my video camera and show it to other people. Nearly every skill that I had to make the Captain America shield, I didn't have before, and I only have it because I went to what I nicknamed YouTube University.
Right, yeah.
Everybody in the Captain groups that I was talking about, if you put out a question, you will get 10 to 36 replies because people want to help other people. And for me, support is vital. This project wouldn't have happened if I had a girlfriend that thought it was kind of stupid. I probably still would do it, but my mental state would not be what it is. Having somebody support my daughter, tries to play like she's too cool for school with this, but then when I'm tinkering with the shield, she actually wants to help. I have a friend online that I met who, I've never met him, and I've never spoken to him, but I talk to him almost every day via Facebook Messenger. And he is one of my favorite people to talk to about this. And at one point I said, are you getting tired of me talking about this? And he was never, not for a second. So community support, all of that really helps. Yeah, when I said mistakes this is a very small sample of all of the mistakes that I made trying to make the back of this. And there's a lot more that goes behind it. The black one that looks like it's leaking white, it'll take too long to do for the time here, but ask me about it later. To make that particular mistake, Smooth On, the company that makes the chemicals, says they have never heard of anybody misuse the chemicals in the way that I did, to the extent that I did, to make that particular mistake. Next one. So skills collecting. I'm a fan of Adam Savage. Adam Savage calls people that do a variety of stuff, he likes to nickname them skill collectors. I didn't know I was a skill collector. Before this project, I was creative, and these are my skills. I could edit photos, I could do some illustrations. I'm a graphic designer, and from my job, I learned how to do motion graphics. This is all a good skill set that would keep me busy well into retirement and beyond. When you take on a project that you don't know how to do without realizing it, you will learn skills that are applicable to other things. The next slide. These are all the skills I learned after taking on the SHIELD project. I don't know how to do any of them 2 years ago. And it turns out I really like leatherwork. I really like networking. I really like cosplay. I just got a printer that's going to unlock doors for things like, for an example, this side, I 3D a negative of the back. And the way that I make it is I coat this in resin, and you'll see later a little bit of footage. This gets put on top of the. I had a catastrophic failure not too long ago, so now this is unusable. I have a 3D printer, so I'm making lemonade. I'm going to 3D print my own with improvements that this doesn't have that'll make my job easier. I didn't know how to do that 2 years ago. I didn't know how to do that 3 months ago. Next. So now we get into the process. To make this shield, the props for the films change depending on what they're using it for. The materials change. The size of the actor versus the stunt person will change. But the community has landed on a 24-inch diameter with a three. That is what we consider the other Captain America shield. And as the story goes, they were making the first Avenger. The shield was all metal, and all metal is heavy, even if it's aluminum. Something this big and this thick, it ended up being roughly 15 pounds. 15 pounds is not that much unless you're going to carry it all day for hours and hours, day after day. Chris Evans told them, I can't lift my arm anymore, so give me the stunt shield. The stunt shield was made out of foam, and it's much, much lighter. And Marvel uses a very realistic chrome spray that's really expensive, so I can't use it. But at the end of the day, nothing looks like metal except metal. And they want it to look like a vibranium shield, so they had to figure out a way to re-engineer it. And what they came up with was the front. So the front is actual spun aluminum metal, but the inside is a hard foam core with a resin coating that's painted to look like metal. The one that they got for the films was reportedly roughly 7.5 pounds. The closest I can get, the disc by itself is about 5 pounds. And then there's all of the resin that goes into it. There's the hardware, the buckles, the T-nuts, the this, the that. I don't know how they...
Imagine stepping into a therapy session, feeling unsure and overwhelmed. But what if you can walk in with confidence and a clear mind? At the Eudaimonia Project, we bridge the gap between uncertainty and empowerment, providing tools and guidance to help individuals make the most of their journey. Inspired by the challenges many face when seeking mental health support, we set out to create a space where preparation meets progress. We understand that the first step into therapy, it can be daunting. That's why we offer essential prep work through workshops, support groups, and educational resources. Our services are designed to empower you. From interactive workshops and support groups to comprehensive resources, we ensure that you're ready for every step of your therapeutic journey. Join us at the Eudaimonia Project. Together, we can transform uncertainty into confidence and make a lasting impact on your mental health journey. Let's bridge the gap to a brighter future.
7 pounds. I think that is before they put the leather straps on. So maybe I did actually mimic it. I'm trying to get in touch with somebody to confirm that one. So that's what that I turn this into that. Here is everything in terms of materials that it takes to make one of those blank discs a Captain America shield. We can start playing the video. We start with a disc. Oh, we have sound. That's great. 16 screws, 16 T-nuts, 4 different types of screws, some buckles, some custom, I call those couplers. I don't know what they're actually called. Custom tri-glides. Marvel doesn't do anything simple. Everything with Marvel is either modified to make it hard before they custom make it. That's the expanding foam. That's the resin. Almost the entire resin ended up on the back of the shield. Spray paint, spray paint, spray paint. Rub and buff, and finally all of the leather. And if everything goes right, which it never does, 10 weeks later, it'll turn into that. So that foam I was talking about is this right here. I mixed this last night to show you. This is what's in the core of the Captain America shields. It's very light as a feather, but it's very dense. I could, if I wanted to, finger into it, but I really would have to want to do it. But I mixed 2 ounces of this last night, and it expanded 16 times its own size. That's why it exceeded the 28-ounce limit, or 26, whatever this is. And since I could just start pressing into it and start denting it, if I wanted to, I cover it with a hard hard resin. I could break if I really wanted to, but the point being that is what it's made of. And you guys can, if you want, you can feel free to do that later. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so one thing that really helped with my mental state with making things, I learned a long time ago, is called don't blame the tools. If you do anything creative, back when I would do art, it's nice to go, well, the reason I can't draw as good as that person can draw is because I don't have that person's marker. Yeah. No, that's not right. Only I had the saw. I would be able to do that. If this, if that, don't blame the tools. Yes, it is possible that if you have the nicer tool, you will do a nicer job. But that doesn't mean you have to totally do absolutely nothing. One of the things up here is called the Shield Pizza Slicer. One of the shields I'm working on right now is the Sam Wilson version of the shield. Sam Wilson's shield has two thinner grooves in between the silver and a hidden one in the outermost red ring. I wanted to make them on my own, so I made my own tool because these didn't exist. I nicknamed it the Shield Pizza Slicer. It's a ceramic disc that's used to cut ceramic tiles, and this handle is for leatherwork to lay your stitching holes down. Well, I decided I wanted it to be something else, so I made it something else. But I am great at misusing tools for purposes they were not intended for. Can we go to the next slide? Like this, if this user. That's a scriber. That is intended to be used to mark and put lines in plastic models. It turns out polished aluminum is wicked easy to scratch. You could probably, with your thumbnail, just go up and start putting scratches in polished aluminum. So there's an inner design to the Captain America shield that I put in by hand just by scratching it about 20 times, very lightly. Next. I use a Dremel as a drill press. One of the things that they've gotten wrong is there's circles near the tips of all of the star points. On most replicas, they're hollow circles. In the movies, they're not hollow circles. It's like as if they put this in a drill press and pressed it down. I don't know how you do that because it's a curved surface. That's how I do it. One day they're going to do an autopsy on me and they're going to find out I have the arteries of a World War II veteran because of this step. That is polished aluminum, and that thing likes to kick like a mule when I'm doing it. That's why I have gorilla taped it down, and even sometimes that doesn't stop it. And if I make a mistake, I have to polish the shield all over again and do it again. I sweat like I am running a marathon in 98% humidity when I'm doing this. Next. I don't do it anymore. I found a better way, but I used to use a Dremel to put the main outline around the star. And then again, the Dremel likes to kick, so I needed something to act as a stop. Since it's a surface, it's hard to go to the hardware store and find something, so I just made one. That's a flexible ruler and duct tape. Okay. I thought I was going to the shield by hand, and it turns out I was not going to be doing that. So I needed a motor. So if you could play the video, I just repurposed my daughter's bike. And I'm running a little low on time. Can we go to the next one and start playing the video? Then I figured out how to mount it to a pottery wheel, which is what I use today. Doing this in the main living room, sending metal dust all over the place was not one of the smarter ideas. Next slide. We should be able to do. This is the entire process. There are over 130 steps to make a Captain America shield. It's running fast for time, but this will be about 2.5 minutes. I only kept the parts that went right. There's always, and yeah, there's the flexible ruler. I still do this to polish up the lines. The side has to be bent a little bit, so I bought one of those. Yep, there's the pottery wheel. Again, this is meticulous. If I make a mistake, I have to take it off and remount it, but when it's finally centered, I could do all the polishing. There's the scribing I was talking about. There's the stressful Dremel. And quick, put the film on because if anything ruins it. Okay, so those T-nuts that hold this on, the ones for the movie, they make 60 shields per movie because those break all the time. And I think I actually improved on the process over the films. They weld them down. Aluminum does not want to be welded. And here comes the expanding foam. That stuff, you have 20 seconds before you should get out of the way. And there it is coming up through the holes. But when it's all done, the entire bonded together. But there's always things that need to be touched up. Spray paint is a skill in itself. Yes, it is. And I'm using anodized spray paint, which means you can see the material through it. Now I start doing, while the spray paint cures, I work on the leather by hand. And again, I will point out, while I'm doing all of this, I'm not wasting time. I'm not doom scrolling. I'm not arguing with somebody who said something I didn't like on the internet. I'm doing productive things with my time now. Now, to put the metal finish on back, I painted black first and then I put silver on top of it. And now I'm roughing up the thing to make it look like brushed metal. And almost there. And that's it. That is how I make a Captain America shirt. I don't know if I have time, but does anybody have any questions?
I don't have a question. I'm right here.
That is on YouTube, yes. If you YouTube Newman Assembles, I have right now like 3 or 4 videos. And I'm currently my videos because I don't want to, hey, look, it's a Captain America shirt. I actually want to help people know about problem solving, so they're more geared towards this is the process by which I'm doing something. And since I'm replacing this at the moment, when this is done, I'm going to make a whole video that shows all the improvements I made to the. I think I'm out of time, yes? Thank you, thank you.
Let's give him an applause. Thank you, Jason, for sharing your process for making replicas and telling us we have nothing ventured, nothing gained, and it's okay to make failures and mistakes, because that's how we learn and grow. So thank you so much.